Joining us now, Thaddeus Cleveland, the sheriff of Terrell County, Texas. It's along the U.S. Mexico border. Sheriff, welcome as always. I'm thinking about that video about a week ago where you and I were watching as cartel members were firing at drones along the border. You add 10,000 National Guard troops from Mexico to the border. How do you anticipate the cartels to respond?
Hey, good morning, Marni. It's great to be back on with you. And to be honest, I think we're going to see a lot more violence. We're going to see the cartels in Mexico combat their National Guard there in Mexico as well. That's something that we've seen play out often along the U.S. Mexico border. And even yesterday, there was some footage coming out on Facebook and some other social media that was sent to me from friends that are Border Patrol agents showing actually cartel on cartel. But we're going to definitely see an increase in violence because the cartels are going to get desperate to move their products, both humans and drugs, across the border.
But is there really another option? I mean, adding manpower to the border to help bolster that security, I mean, what more could be done?
You know, there's not. And I think it's come to that point, and it's something that we've looked at my entire career as U.S. Border Patrol agent. You know, we've been out there to interdict the drugs that cross the border, of course, people that cross the border. And certainly since 9/11, it was no longer just the Border Patrol is no longer an immigration-focused asset. We were a national security asset, stopping all bad things and bad people. But again, the cartels have been able to operate at will in Mexico for decades. And this is probably this is the time that it's going to hopefully come to an end, because President Trump is going to carry through with his promises to stop dangerous drugs such as fentanyl that kills hundreds of thousands of lives a year here in America.
I mean, give us some examples, Sheriff Cleveland, of how the drug is getting across the border right now. Some of the holes where the cartels are able to access that these extra troop levels will address.
Well, Marni, the right is going to tell you, meaning the Republicans, that it's coming in between the ports of entry, and the left, the Democrats, are going to say it's coming at the ports of entry. They want to say that to bolster, you know, their stance on border security. But the truth is, it comes both between the ports of entry and through the ports of entry. I suspect as we see the buildup in between the ports of entry with both Border Patrol agents, Department of Defense personnel, and technology, that we will see the cartels start to move their dangerous drugs through ports of entry. So we will definitely need more technology and manpower there to make sure we are, you know, searching through the commodities that come through the border in a legal manner, based in, you know, fruits, produce, and other goods.
Right. So we've got the manpower, it sounds like. So what types of technology would then assist in identifying these drugs and stopping them from crossing?
Well, at ports of entry and even at Border Patrol checkpoints, we use these VACUS machines that are X-ray machines that X-ray semi-truckloads and the goods that they're bringing across, and it can see anomalies in the pallets or the containers of food and whatnot, and detect people. We also use canines. You know, dogs are trained to differentiate between people and dangerous drugs. So we have different methods at our disposal, and it's just going to have to be an increased inspection of goods coming from Mexico, and then sources of information. You know, you can't beat the human intelligence part. But again, the plus up of the manpower at the border will definitely help with some of this.
And the numbers, I mean, it's massive. I mentioned a moment ago, 4,500 troops on the U.S. side. Now you've got 10,000 heading there on the Mexico side. So you've got the manpower. I'm wondering, Sheriff, has that alleviated some of the strain on local agents and sheriffs and departments like yours that have been working the border?
So back in 2020 was the first time we saw the government of Mexico actually patrol its northern border with the United States, as well as its southern border with Guatemala. This was the first time President Trump threatened Mexico with tariffs. And it certainly did help alleviate some of the pressure at the immediate border in between the ports of entry. But again, we can't rely completely on Mexico to patrol or to, you know, solve our border problem. We have to also continue to add more infrastructure, more technology, and of course more manpower. So, you know, as we go through these next steps, these next few months, it'll be really telling on the future of what the border situation will be.
Always appreciate talking to you, Sheriff Cleveland. Thank you.
Thanks, Marni. God bless you.
You too. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.